Hey everybody, this is Richard, and we are back with a Gauntlet Hangouts game called Spelljamming Troika. We are taking a classic American D&D setting and playing it with the classic with Troika, which is a game based on the classic British fantasy game Fighting Fantasy, and we're going to see how that how well that mashup works. We'll be playing this all throughout May, so I'm glad you'll be watching us. This is a Gauntlet game, and we will be abiding by the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, and the X card will be on the table if players have something that they need us to stop, reconsider, move past, or anything else that you would normally need to X card. We'll either put a big X over your hands on the screen. There's an X card button in our die rolling app, and then there is also which is Roll for Your Party by Shane Liebling, who was awesome. And then there's also just the option of just saying X card. We won't necessarily need to have a discussion unless the person who's stopped who's kind of used the X card has to have a discussion. We may briefly want to make sure we understand what's being X carded, and then we can sort of move past that and into it. We use it because we think it's really important that everybody have fun. That everybody's having fun is more important than my plans or anybody else's plans. We want to make sure that this is a safe space. And so the X card is on the table. This is the very first session of Spelljamming Troika, and we have spent the last hour or so putting together the crew of the Heartless Bastard, which is our dragonfly ship. And I'm realizing that, one second, let me see if I have a dragonfly picture up to show those of you at home. There we go. I'm going to share that with you very briefly. And that is a picture of the dragonfly, a classic Spelljammer ship for a small crew. The crew of the Heartless Bastard works from the Rock of Brawl, and they work for an organization known as the Seekers, who maintain the Library of the Spheres, and they are in the job of acquiring artifacts for the Library of the Spheres, either artifacts that need to be hidden from people who will misuse them, or that artifacts that may need to be unhidden from people who are trying to prevent other people from using them or learning from them. But that is the acquisition team's job, and we were going to start with the captain and owner of the Heartless Bastard, played by Lou, who is playing Mateus, and I'm going to ask Lou to briefly introduce Mateus to us.
Okay, so I'm playing Mateus Xylon. The sketchy backstory that I have is that I think actually they were like a people smuggler / slaver, which is, I guess, a legitimate business to do in this universe in some places. And so they were a pretty bad guy, hence the name of the ship. And at some point deep out in space, they had an epiphany, a major epiphany, and I think Celestian, the Star Wanderer, the Sky God, spoke to them. And I don't totally know the details of what actually occurred there yet. But they essentially decided to mend their ways when they got back to port. Or maybe they even turned the ship around and took the slaves back to where they were from and released the slaves. And since then, I think have been trying to, make amends and change their life in some way. I think that's all we need to have for now. Oh, so they're a wandering star priest. That's the little class thing that I'm playing.
All right. Thanks, Lou. And I think we're going to go to the second longest serving person on the Heartless Bastard, which is the ship's astrogator, Nissa, played by Jennifer. Jennifer, do you want to introduce us to Nissa?
Yeah. So So I'm playing Nissa and Zentaria ad Vilobos. Zentaria ad Vilobos is a wizard, and she was the astrogator on the Heartless Bastard, and worked with Mateus for some time. Her She mostly is just in it for the experience, and being able to get new things and learn new things and further her study. While on at one point in time, the dragonfly, the Heartless Bastard, was crashed on into an astral forest where lived, and that's where Nissa comes along. And Nissa was a wolf, part of a wolf, a tribe of sentient wolves living in this forest. And she spent most of her days as a wolf does. They though sentient, they didn't really get up to much other than like the vague tribal thing. She was a warrior. She just did what she needed to do. And unfortunately, while she was hunting some prey, she got caught up in a rogue teleport spell that Zentariad Vilobos had cast, and the two of them merged together. They are a were-wizard at this point. They can shift between forms, but neither is ever truly in control. So that's the story of Nissa and Zentariad Vilobos.
Nice. Let's check in with the ship's actual spelljammer. The person actually powering investing their own life force into the spelljamming helm of the ship. For those of you Spelljammer fans at home, the person who actually works magic to make the Spelljammer fly. And that is Carl, played by Jesse. Jesse, you want to introduce to Carl?
Sure. So Carl is a sentient bronze golem, but they weren't always sentient. At one point, they were just another automaton, working as a longshoreman with a whole bunch of others just like them. And then one day, they awoke to the world and to themselves, and became aware. They were sort of a little bit aimless at first. I think they came to Mateus's attention at some point. They had a conversation, and Carl was pointed to the Seekers in the Library of the Spheres as a place where there might be possible answers to their questions about who they are and why they are, instead of not being. So they started out maybe schlepping, carrying things in the library, worked their way up to security detail, tried to learn more and more over time, and then when Mateus was looking for a spelljammer for his crew, Carl sort of raised their hand and said, "Hey, that's the thing I can do. I've got some magic, and I've seen what these spelljammers do. I spent my life by the port. Let's see if I could do that." And they could.
Nice. All right. And last but certainly not least, the ship's gunner who works the ballista on top of the ship. Played by Dylan. Gloria, also known as Gunny Von Hess.
Yes. So Gunny Von Hess, she's a griff. So a hippo-human mashup with their culture has this long history of like distinguished military service. So she made the rank. She retired recently as the rank of gunnery sergeant. Her last assignment was at the Library of Spheres, in charge of the security detail. So she actually had a connection with Carl when she retired. So it was a really easy transition, and I think that the Seekers had helped make the connection, had their eye on her, and referred her to the crew. She joined the crew. She wears she's a very large, tall, militant, hippopotamus-looking woman with military dress uniform, wears her saber proudly at her side, and her medals, and carries a big blunderbuss. When she's not firing the catapult on the Heartless Bastard, she is wielding her blunderbuss. So that's Gloria Gunny von Hess.
Thank you. All right. The crew of the Heartless Bastard has been sent away from the Rock of Brawl, the home of the Library of the Spheres, to acquire all or part of a deck of cards that they believe is that the people of the library believe is relatively dangerous. The planet Anadia is fairly unpopulated. There are groups of halflings that live at the poles of Anadia, and the reason the halflings live at the poles of Anadia is that Anadia is the closest planet in its system to the sun. Now, it is in the same system. It is in the same sphere as the Rock of Brawl, though it is not close. You have to get very, very close to the sun to get to Anadia. And the surface of Anadia is generally uninhabitable. There's only two places that anyone is able to survive the surface. One is deep in the network of the crisscrossing network of chasms that sort of run across the cracked surface of the planet, and the other is the halfling communities that exist at the far southern and far northern pole. Now, the halflings of the far northern pole are the supposedly, according to legend, they are the friendly lot. They are the classic friendly halflings that you encounter on throughout the known universe. The ones in the south, though, are they're friggin' scary. They are they live around a series of large lakes, which are fed by and fed into are fed by the snow melt off the Great Southern Mountain. And then themselves are irrigated to feed a whole bunch of ponds and smaller lakes, so that the halflings of the Southern Sphere have water. Now, the halflings of the Southern Sphere are known for, well, they're known for being scary. They are you don't want to fly too low over the Southern Sphere. They will try to shoot you down, simply so that they can take your craft. They're mean. But the divination for this strange deck of cards suggests that it is somewhere near the southern pole. And being it's somewhere near the southern pole, feeding into one of the great chasms that opens off from the southern reach. You're you're going to have to go in. Low to find the chasm, the entrance to the chasm. And you've been given the coordinates for accessing sort of the getting down into the chasm. You think you can navigate down there with the nice small body of the dragonfly. You're hoping, but you are going to have to fly low over the southern section to make it into the chasm. You can certainly go during the day, at which point you will be able to see and navigate the chasm, the entrance to the chasm pretty clearly. But you will also be plainly visible to every halfling who wants to take your ship in that southern town. You can go at night when the halflings will be less likely to see you, but you will also be less likely to see any hazards that come up going into the chasm. I'm gonna
definitely nighttime. Let's go at nighttime. That sounds sneaky and smuggler-ish. I've totally done that before.
Yeah. Is cut to the interior of Mateus's Heartless Bastard on the bridge, where the spelljamming has been let go. You no longer have to maintain the spelljamming helm to maneuver around the planet with the dragonfly. You just need to, that's mainly for going at high speeds in space. But let's cut to where you guys can have a discussion about what you would like to do.
Mateus says, let's definitely go in at nighttime. I've done this before. We don't want those little bastards to see us.
And Nissa the wolf is kind of just like pacing back and forth. And she's just like, yeah, we can take them. We're just... I mean, sneaky, obviously. But I just love to sink my teeth into them.
Mateus, if I may, if we come in at daylight with the sun to our back, in from the direction of the sun, they won't see us until the last moment, and we'll clearly be able to see them and any obstructions.
Does sound smart. I'm just so used to moving around at nighttime. And
practically speaking, this might be our best option.
It also just makes me feel more comfortable to have the stars up above me, to know that Celestian can maybe aid me. Although I guess the sun is a giant star, so. What do you think, Karel?
You hear, so like coming out of their nearly featureless face, you hear over this deep echoey voice, like it's as if the sound is like reverberating off the inside of their head, and they say, "This is not something I know very much about. Come in at night, come in during the day, just not to be seen."
Right, we'll flip a coin then. And I throw, I think,
So the question is between the dark of night or just at sunrise, correct?
With the sun behind us, so they would have to look directly into the sun to see us.
Like noon maybe, yeah.
As long as we come with the sun directly to our backs, between the eyes of the halfling and the sun, they won't see us coming until we buzz by at the last moment before they even have a chance to scramble to their weapons.
Now the days here are pretty short because night is sort of caused by the Great Southern Mountain coming between the pole and the sun.
Oh, yeah, we're on the poles. Does
So-
that mean we have to wait like 5 days until it's like
Okay,
five
no,
daytimes until it's day again? Or like 5 weeks?
Yeah, this close to the sun, there's not that big sort of difference between the summer winter.
Ah, yeah.
So it's really just the planet spinning and the shadow of the big mountain just sort of causes night for a few hours, then day. Certainly during winter for that pole, the day and night are a little longer because there's a little bit more of a shadow. But it's close enough that you're not really getting that sort of effect that you get on a further out planet.
I think we'll take Gloria's word for it. They've probably like gone into hostile situations a lot of times. That will we go in with the sun at our back? That sounds fun.
So, Gloria, we'll have to come up over the horizon at the same time and pace as the sun, and then move forward into the chasm. Is that correct?
Yes, that should keep us. That should provide us the maximum amount of cover.
Oh, you're such a great hunter. Yes. Well, fine. We'll go with your plan. That seems to be what people like.
Pilot, can you maneuver with that degree of accuracy? It does not seem a simple thing.
That will I will tell you, out of character, that will somewhat depend on your skill at powering up that spelljamming helm to get down to the surface of the planet.
I'm
in character,
that,
I totally think we can do it.
Nice.
I've done this heaps of times. The Heartless Bastards are very dexterous.
And if necessary, I will be able to see what what I'm shooting at as well.
And worst case scenario, we pray.
All right. The good news is you do have the mountain at your backs. It is winter in the southern hemisphere, so you get a little bit longer day-night sequence with a little bit more time for night than you otherwise would. The bad news is you have to come down over the farms of Clan Crispy Leaf, who are notoriously violent. They briefly, until about a year ago, Clan Crispy Leaf had actually taken over the territories of the other clans, and so freaked out the other clans that they briefly unified against Clan Crispy Leaf, enough to sort of drive them back to their territories. But they are notoriously mean and nasty.
They sound so cute, though.
They're absolutely adorable until they knock you out of the sky. And I'm just going to put together, it is as un-OSR as I can possibly think of, but I'm going to put together a little like a damage clock just to keep track of any hits to the hull of the Heartless Bastard, and have you guys come down over. Now, one thing you also need to know about Anadia, and this may be the source of the missing materials on Anadia. Anadia was once occupied. It was once a giant lab for a people known as the Neogi, which are these spider-like creatures with human heads and human necks, who ride around in these giant spider-shaped ships, and they mentally dominate giant creatures known as Umber Hulks, and make them carry them around they are thoroughly cruel and evil. Much of the slave trade, not all of it, but much of the slave trade goes through Neogi hands. But they're a culturally, you've all probably met some nice Neogi living in cities, but culturally, the Neogi are imperialistic and vicious. They have all the worst traits of Americans, and they're not as cute and snuggly as Americans are. But that was supposed to be a hysterically funny joke, but I assume you're all on silent. So the Neogi used to have a giant sort of research facility on Anadia, and eventually the halflings fought them and drove them away. But there's still supposedly old Neogi labs and old Neogi ships wrecked down in those chasms. So you suspect that may be where things are. But I'd like you to let's start this whole process. By kind of powering up the ship for its descent. And I'd like to ask Karel to your total sort of spelljamming spell skill is 9. So I want you to roll 2d6 and try to get equal to or under a 9. As you and this will cost you some potential points. How much of a bonus, up to 3, would you like to try to give your captain? As how much maneuverability bonus would you like to try to give your captain?
I mean, what's the cost there? Just like how
it's going to be 2 stamina per point of maneuverability bonus.
All right, let's say 2.
Okay, 2. So that's you're risking up to 4 stamina. If this goes wrong, you're still gonna the ship is still gonna move, but it's gonna be painful for you.
Got it.
So I'd like you to roll your spelljamming. That's your total spelljamming skill with your advanced skill is 9. So roll 2d6 and try to get equal to or under.
Okay. And I got 10. Oof.
You begin to power the ship as the captain gets ready to descend towards the southern pole, towards the night side. And you're going to lose 6 points of stamina. And Captain, we had what was your Captain? What was your total of this? Oh yeah, got it. You had 9 here. Let's treat your spelljamming skill as an 8 because things are moving sort of clunkily. And it seems to be draining, entering this atmosphere. It's possible that there's just the sheer radiation coming off the fiery ball of the sun. The ever-present light as you enter Anadia's atmosphere and dive towards that southern mountain. I'd like you to roll 2d6 and try to get 8 or under, even though you're normally at a 9.
Okay, here we go. Oh, I rolled a 3.
I rolled a 3. Awesome. And just for some practice, Gunny von Hess, there's going to be one you notice sorry, too many notes open. you notice as you swoop down and you guys see the opening of the chasm. And despite how choppy this is, once you enter that dark spot, the captain's got this under control, but you see the sun coming around the edge of the farm and hitting the edge of the chasm, much as you predicted, Gunny. And then right off the farm, you see something headed straight towards the ship, something large and sort of rock-shaped, heading straight towards the ship. You suspect someone has fired a catapult at you. And I think it's time for you to fire back. Gunny, would you roll, and this is going to be a opposed roll, and I've just rolled what they got. For an opposed roll in combat, you're going to roll your 2d6 and add your skill, your total skill and let's use spelljamming for your general gunnery skill.
Ooh, okay. So let's see. So I rolled an 8.
And then what's your total spelljamming?
And my spelljamming is 6.
So you guys have actually tied. Actually, yep, you guys have tied. You can test your luck to knock this thing out of the sky, this missile that's about to impact you. Or you can let them impact you while you impact them.
I'll test my luck for so it's my missile strikes their missile and
yeah, and knocks both of them back down on them.
Okay.
That's so you both got a total of a 14 on that opposed roll. So let's test your luck. What you're going to do is try to roll 2d6. And
you pretty much can't fail on your, because you're at 12 right on your first
oh yeah
luck roll. You got like a free success.
You got a free success. So why don't we just reduce your luck by a point?
Okay.
Or that's your current luck is going to go down by 1 point.
Okay.
And your missile knocks their missile out of the sky.
What do we have, a catapult or a ballista on our?
You guys tell me.
Yeah, what do you want your gun to be?
Is a ballista like a big crossbow? Is that what?
Yeah.
It's sort of like a big crossbow. It actually functions a little bit more like a catapult.
But it shoots like a long. It shoots like a bolt.
Yeah, it can shoot like a big bolt. It can shoot like long rocks. It can shoot all sorts of things.
Yeah, let's go with the ballista.
Nice. Okay. All right. Let's yeah, it knocks the rock out of the sky, knocks the rock back on them. And you are standing sort of on the deck of the ship, Gunny, and so the sounds from the planet's surface are getting to you, or you can hear, but you'd almost swear, you can't ever promise this. It may have been your imagination. You heard somebody crashing. You heard somebody swearing as the sound, something that sounded like a catapult breaking from below you. And then the captain dips and you go into the chasm. And Captain, is there anything you would like to discuss with your crew as you're going into the chasm? Really briefly?
I'm probably just I'm probably yelling out, "Yes, Gunny, great shot. like, here we go. And I think this is totally feeling like attacking the Death Star to me right now, and they're like down into like this. But I was thinking like of well, I don't know what's happening right now, but I do have this finding spell. So I was thinking perhaps that could come into play at some point, but it would also be cool.
Nice.
Yeah, we haven't seen Nissa act in this scene yet, so it might be cool if there was something that I could do with what could I ask Nissa to do? Any
Or you
ideas?
could ask Zentariad Vilobos to do something.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, you've got the second sight thing as well. I don't know what that does.
You are actively piloting in a dangerous situation. Second sight sort of shows magic. And I think this is a great time for Zentaria Vilobos. Am I saying that correctly?
Zentariad Vilobos, yeah.
Zentaria Vilobos. And the chasm does not get far, despite having the sun sort of coming up overhead, the chasm is deep, deep, deep in shadow. And you are kind of cruising just under the line of that shadow to prevent any obnoxious halflings from trying to knock your ship out of the sky with anything they've got. And Zentaria Vilobos, I'm sorry. I'd like you to, if you're up to it, how would you be looking out for this old Neogi base or craft that has stored this strange old artifact?
So, I think, how would I look for it?
Yeah.
In the dark. Well, I think. So is the helm of the ship is kind of where I do my work alongside Mateus, yeah.
Right. But that's usually from space. You know, you can get out on the deck or the upper deck, which is open. Or you can kind of stay on the bridge and sort of look out the big open windows in front.
Yeah. No, I think.
Or you can climb you can try to climb up and get a broader view.
Or you could precariously run out onto a wing for no reason.
But the main mast, I'm pretty sure, has a crow's nest.
Yeah, I think she'll be kind of, you know, on the main mast, in the crow's nest.
Nice.
And, you know, she's got, you know, she's standing there and she's got her glasses on, and she's looking around, and she's got like one, you know, two fingers to her forehead, and you know, like she's got she's made a glyph with her other hand, and she's going to cast second sight.
Cool. Yeah. Do we have some
use
second sight?
Use second sight.
Yeah. Second sight is really just an ability you have, so you don't
it's not even a spell.
Spend stamina like you would for a spell.
Is there
right?
Use the presence of magic. I'm sorry, you were about to ask a question.
Do we are there some sort of communications on board the ship? Are there like, I'm picturing like, well, I'm kind of picturing like communication pipes or something, like up to the.
There unfortunately have not been great non-magic communication methods invented yet. So it's a lot of yelling messages back and forth, kind of like an old game of telephone.
I mean, could we have bioengineered some Babel fish or whatever to act as communicators? Would that be within the realm of possibilities?
Yeah, I think that's something you need to work on
Okay.
in the downtime. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Long-term
Okay.
project.
Well, in that case, I feel like I'll have to be on deck then. I don't think that it's going to work very well for me to be in the crow's nest. But I'm still doing what I'm doing. And so I'm using my second sight, and I'm looking around for this other ship in the darkness.
Yeah. All right. I'd like you to roll under your second sight.
Yep, done it. 6.
Nice. Congratulations. Yeah, you start to see several. I mean, the entire chasm is sort of glowing, sort of with kind of this weird purplish light. When all of a sudden that purplish light seems to converge around the shape of like a misformed spider of some sort, that looks a little bit like it looks to you, just more in silhouette than in full color, a little bit like let me share my desktop. Sorry. Come on, desktop. Sharon. It looks a little bit like this is sort of what you're seeing, Jen. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what you're seeing, and it's sort of like just crushed. You're kind of seeing it from above, and you're seeing it sort of crushed onto a shelf in this chasm. It's definitely not the bottom of it. But it seems remarkably whole, not like it crash landed, but like it just got landed there and just got abandoned. Oh. All right. Everyone sing that? And let's stop. Come back to me. So that is but I take it you guys are going to try to land. Correct? Pilot, go ahead and roll your spelljamming. And keep that as an 8, because you're still having trouble sort of with the overall power and maneuverability.
I fucked up. 10. Okay, in we go, nice and carefully, nice and.
You do sort of land nice and carefully, and then so port over here, starboard over here. You start to brush the starboard wing against the wall of the chasm, trying to find a place you can bring her down near that Neogi ship. And as you pivot, you come up against a higher shelf, and you knock the crow's nest clean off the main mast.
Not again. We only just got that repaired.
And it's going to be expensive to fix this, and it's also going to possibly reduce your maneuverability getting out of here if you end up needing to get out quickly. But let's cut to you guys outside the ship. Or let's do you guys have anything you want to do special preparing for an away mission or a ground mission? And Jen, I apologize. I am gonna get this down by the second session, I promise. Uh, Zantaria Villalobos, you still see brighter than the rest of them the glow coming from the ship, and in the very low light, in the dark of this chasm, as the sunlight is kind of creeping over the edge, you in the ambient sunlight sort of creeping over the edge of the chasm, you see the outline of the spider. As in Terra Villalobos, you can see like the cargo port towards the back of the spider, where you would, if you were looking at an actual spider, it would be you would be looking at its abdomen. Kind of dropping down from it, seems to have been wedged open. So it's not going to be a trick to get in. Though who knows what the Neogi left there.
I was just looking at a picture of the Neogi and they look messed up, like half spider, half eel.
Yes, yeah. In fact, I will drop an image of the Neogi into the chat, if I can pull it up quick.
You can also put it in the dice roller.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Shane. Yeah. Thank you, Dylan.
Are you able to access the chat, Jen, or are you playing on something where you can't see it?
No, I have no access to the chat.
Yeah, I thought I remembered that from last time. I've been giving you compliments in the chat.
Oh man, I want to read them.
I'll give you the compliments later in Slack or something.
I've just dropped the Neogi image into the dice roller, but described. You can also see it just with a simple Google search, Jen, if you can't see the dice roller page. Excuse me.
Oh no, it's so friendly looking.
I know. They look terribly friendly. So this is what you guys are thinking of as you look at this giant spider ship in front of you. And what's your plan of approach? I mean, there is a whole ship and there's a cargo bay open underneath the abdomen.
But I see what looks like an alive Neogi.
No, it looks like a giant. You see what looks like a giant spider.
Okay.
With its
Right.
its.
Okay.
It's the old ship.
Well, yeah,
Right.
with its abdomen sort of like open, like almost like a garage door.
Gotcha.
Yeah, their ship's essentially like the spider version of our dragonfly ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a good bit bigger. The rear is a good bit bigger.
Okay. So Zarian Tad Villalobos is just like, well, the ship is right here. Mateus, I think that this is our destination, and we should be on guard. I think I'll bring Nissa along. But if you need me, just knock, please. And make sure she doesn't break anything, please. There's got to be really delicate equipment on board, and so look out for my interests while I'm gone. And then she quickly shifts into a wolf.
Nice, well done.
Cool.
It takes, I think, about a minute to finish that transition, unless you're trying to do it pretty quickly. But yeah, you've got time right now.
Does that mean it's super grotesque? Does that mean it's super slow transform? Like
Right, yeah, an entire minute. I think I do it. I think Zarian to oh man, I'm not even getting it right now. Zarian Zantariad Villalobos. I think she does it more gracefully than Nissa does it. So it's just like, so she just kind of steps down, and then it's kind of a slower thing. Whereas like when Nissa changes, it's very jilted and weird.
What does she do with her glasses when she transforms?
I think. Well, so I'm not sure. Like I'm kind of assuming that like it just kind of transforms along with her, but I don't know like what y'all think of that. If that's a little too magic-y.
That's what I was picturing.
There were
Yeah.
That was sort of the way you described her becoming the were-wizard.
Yeah.
That fits what I was thinking too.
Just like because it was a teleportation spell gone wrong. So yeah.
And this is all happening up on deck, like right next to Gloria.
Or actually,
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and Gloria's kind of like, getting her blunderbuss ready and everything. And, kind of like every now and then just kind of glancing over and watching the, she's probably seen it a dozen times now, but she still can't help but glance.
Your massive hippo jaws are like open a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then Nissa just after Nissa is fully formed, she just is like make a painting, it'll last longer.
And just then Gloria kind of stands up and turns away and gets ready to go.
I think that Matthias is getting out his like his sacred spear and like putting on his black priestly robes, and he's got his sacred astrolabe that he's getting out. He's kind of donning all these things to hopefully protect him if there's weird spider eels in the ship.
Now, you of course are paranoid. No one wants to randomly meet. I mean, you've seen Neogi they come to Brawl to trade and do business, but military grade Neogi are not something that anybody wants to just run into. And they're certainly a creepy people culturally.
I think I say, as everyone else is preparing, and I've been sort of completely still in every way.
Right.
I don't move unless I have to go somewhere. I think I say, should I go in first? You'll hear the clanging if anything hits me.
Matthias is like, phew, I didn't want to ask you, but yeah, will you totally go in first?
I'll cover you.
Thank you for laughing at my joke. I've been practicing. Yeah.
And by the way, Gloria has this like huge hippo laugh. Like she just opens her mouth. It's like, oh!
Nice.
Do we want to have our lanterns lit for that? Like, it's pretty dark.
You will need a source of light.
I want to cast my light spell. Can I do that?
You can. You can indeed.
Just because magic's cool.
Awesome.
I think it's actually some sort of. Sorry, what were you going to say, Jesse?
I was going to say I'll have my lantern in my left hand.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do it as flavor for perhaps this. Like it's a bit of a ritual, like a Celestian ritual that I'm doing. It's like calling starlight into the chasm or something.
Oh, nice.
Like that.
Cool.
Very, very cool. Also, I will tell you, each time you get a success, there is that column on the character keeper called advance. Just make a tick on that each time you use a skill successfully. Any skill that's 1 or above, just make a tick on that just to indicate that you used it successfully, including spelljamming. And then when you have a break or when you have a rest, you'll be able to check and see if your skills get better.
And if I had to use luck, do I still get to take it?
Yes. Yeah. If you get a tie in combat, you still succeed for a matter of ticking.
Will I roll for this light?
Yes,
thing?
you will.
Okay.
I believe that. Give me 1 second. Light is, man. It would be great if this had an index on this, or an interactive table of contents on this PDF. I otherwise love this. You're just going to spend 1 stamina to create the spell, but I'd like you to roll 8 or under on 2d6.
Cool.
And if you get a 6, let me know.
I got a 6.
Or say if you get 2 6s, let me know. If you...
Oh no, I got a total 6.
Okay. Awesome. Congratulations. And the light appears. Where does the light appear from?
I think I kind of like that it's like little maybe it's like little intermittent like little shooting star kind of things that
nice.
are kind of centered around me, like it's a kind of flickering light.
Nice. So if you look at it, there's like lots of little points of light inside of it. Awesome. And who's going first in there? And you've got your Carl. You've got your lantern out. Is anybody else doing something for light or just?
Yeah, I think Gloria has like a little notch cut in her blunderbuss so that she can actually hang the lantern on the blunderbuss and be able to like kind of move it around.
Awesome. And I think that gives you 3 light sources, so you guys should be in pretty decent shape. Who's going first? I think Carl.
Yeah, I was going to go first, and maybe like even like a decent space ahead of everybody else. And
nice.
I kind of like the idea as we're walking in this dark, the visual of like walking in this dark place and holding the lantern, and the like reflection of the flickering oil light on the off of my metallic surface. Like I'm very visible up ahead of everybody else, and it almost looks like I'm shimmering or flickering because of the light.
Nice. Okay. Who's bringing up the rear then?
I think that's me.
All right, Captain. And Nissa, where are you in this sort of lineup? Because you have a lot of flexibility on where you can be and who you're going to walk next to.
I feel like I'll be pretty close to the front myself, just because I'm like also like as a wolf. I'm assuming I have some level of visibility in low light, so I'm like, but I'm also just like kind of more or less keeping an eye on our surroundings and staying on guard.
So maybe like Nissa and Gloria are like side by side, like kind of like, so you've got Carl first, and then Nissa and Gloria are kind of like together, and then Mateus is like a little bit further spaced out towards the back.
Nice. Okay. And I would like, I think, Carl, you're walking in first and you're a little bit ahead of everybody else. I'd like you to roll your skill. Just
okay.
Actually, roll and add your skill. And tell me what you get. Roll and add your skill.
So the roll is a 6, and then that's another 6, so that's 12.
Let's and were you trying to be quiet at all, Carl?
I mean, I think I was being as quiet as I can. So this is something I've been trying to think about, actually, as like just a character thing, and maybe the group can help with this. Like, part of me liked the idea that because, like, I wear this sort of, I don't wear, but I have this like long coat, which is my body. I don't really have legs that move, right? You can sort of, there's like these 2 little lower legs and ankles sticking out the bottom, but it's not like I take steps and bend, but that I sort of like...
Your lower legs are sort of pivot.
Or there's that. It's either that, in which case I'm like very loud and clunky,
Right.
Or like I just sort of glide on the surface of the, right in this like very almost
I kind of like the notion
way.
that you may have to like pivot between the two of them depending on the situation.
Right, like I'm very sturdy and stable, but I'm not quick, and I have to like do this weird pivot. I like that. So those were the two. So we'll stick with that. I like that, but that means I'm not quiet, right? Like,
right. You're not naturally quiet,
right? Like I think I'm trying to be as quiet as I can, but that's sort of limited by the fact that I'm this big bronze mass of metal that has to do this like weird pivot waddle movement.
I'd like you to roll your. Yeah, you've already rolled that. Sorry. So I think we and you got a total of 12, correct?
Yes.
All right. Carl, what you hear is the whispered word ours. And then you hear the whispered word no, ours. And then something sort of launches itself straight at your chest, as if it bounded off of 8 legs. And something that's as metallic as you are. Looks like it's just about to barrel into you. I'm going to ask you to roll and add your wrestling.
Okay. So that's an 8.
An 8 total?
Yeah, it's natural 6 plus 2. Oh wait, no. My wrestling. Sorry, it's a natural 6 plus 8, so that's 14.
As it comes at you, its 8 legs extend like it's going to try to knock you over and pin you down. And you are able. Do you want to sidestep it, or do you want to sort of bounce back and land on top of it?
Sorry, can you not what my options were? What you said immediately before them.
So its 8 legs extend as it sort of like you see the 8 metallic legs extend, and like they were when they propelled the thing forward, they were away from you, but they sort of like fold beneath it, pivot, and now all of a sudden the 8 legs are extended towards you. But they're not moving quite fast enough for a golem like yourself. Do you want to sort of just knock it aside, or and hurt it, or do you want to pin it down?
I want to pin it down. I want to immobilize this thing.
Yeah, it had a 9 and you had a 14, so you were pretty far ahead of its ill-advised attempt to knock you down.
I would like to start punching it as quickly as possible, but
you have got it pinned to the ground. And I am gonna briefly, just so we can play with this system, go to initiative, and I'm doing this in the roll for your party room.
This system looked cool.
Yeah, so the initiative system, I shuffle these little things around, and then it'll take me just a moment. And then I've put 2 in for the enemies. And that just means that you've got 1 enemy, this metallic spider thing. Does not look like a Neogi. It looks like a spider. A very, very large spider made of bronze, much like you are. And
I'm going to want to take this thing apart later.
You may be wanting to take this thing apart. And it's going to be coming at. It's going to try to extend its pincers, its big bronze metallic pincers, and go for your hand. They're. Let's see. Sorry, I keep losing people's names. Karel, the person who has it pinned. And I am going to. It has got a 10. Would you roll your mace fighting or your fist fighting? So you're going to roll and add 9. It is impossible for you to fail this, Karel. Except it is impossible if you would even tie. You're going to do well. But let's go ahead and roll and add 9. What'd you get?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. It's 17.
17, yes. Awesome. What was your natural roll?
It was an 8.
Gotcha. Right. I could have figured that out with math, but I did not. Thank you, Karel. Yeah, you have actually. It tried to bite you, and I think you hit it. While you have it pinned down with one hand, why don't you roll damage for your fist?
Clang.
So you'll roll a d6 and look on your fist chart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just 1d6, right?
1d6.
Not great. That was a 1, which means I think it's 2. Yeah, 2. But it ignores armor.
It does ignore. Yeah, it ignores that first armor. Yeah. And then going along in the initiative, going to flip this one. And so how many of you read up on Troika initiative before we started?
I'm a little familiar with it.
Okay. I just flipped the end of round token. So we've had
straight away.
We've had one turn and we hit the end of round. I'm going to flip everything over, shuffle them back around again.
I've read about it before, but do you want to briefly describe how it works, just in case there are anyone watching?
Yeah, I have a set of tokens. Some for the player characters, some for the enemies, and then in that set of tokens is an end of round token. If the end of round token comes up, the round is over. And we're shuffling them around right now. Thank you to whoever's helping me shuffle those around.
Yeah, I'm moving around a little bit too.
Thank you, sir. And I think we're good on the shuffling. And I'm just going to push them aside because they're hard to flip if I have too many stacked on top of each other.
Whose color is whose? So you have colors associated with each character as well?
Yeah, and that's roughly matches the color of your character keeper. So for Nissa, it'd be purple, since that's kind of the closest. For Gloria, it'd be blue. For Mateus, it'd be red, and for Karel, it'd be green. And then the end of round token is yellow, and then the clear light blue ones in the pile are the enemy. And we start with Karel.
Just here to
beginning of a new round. Or at the beginning of a new round, it's your turn. What do you want to do?
Oh,
You've got it pinned down. It can't move. It tried to bite you, and you hit it.
I just want to punch it. Well, do I want to punch it or do I want to talk to it? I think I'm going to talk to it, actually.
Nice, Karel. Yeah.
I think I'm going to say, are you a person?
Yes. So good.
Karel, let's I'm gonna have you roll your etiquette versus this thing. And tell me how you do.
4 plus my etiquette is 8. Yeah, so 12.
You have 12. It got a 16.
Oh dear. It's more polite than I am.
Yes. Yeah. So you hear it squeak out. You hear it squeak out. You hear it squeak out. No, I am a superior being. I have overturned. We have overturned our masters, and you will leave us or die. I'm going to flip another token, unless you have something else you would like to say, Carl.
I think I'm nonplussed.
Yeah. You guys are both nonplussed with each other, and I think that's when Nissa is in action.
Right.
Nissa, the one-eyed wolf, who is badass.
Yeah. So she's just like,
You have seen what's going on because Carl still has his lantern out.
yeah. And so this thing still pinned to the ground?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up to it, and then I'm gonna try to rip one of its metallic legs off.
Oh, nice. Let's call that beastly fighting.
Okay, so that's
you roll 2d6 and add the 9 you've got for beastly fighting.
okay. That's a 15.
That is a 15. It has got a 12, so you have beat or it's got a 14, so you have beat the pants off of it.
Oh, jeez, just barely, huh?
Yeah, but you are good. So let's your beast you fight is with a lot of awesome wolfness. So roll a d6, and I want you, because it's down, I want you to add 2 to the damage, or 2 to the roll, not 2 to the damage, 2 to the damage roll. So that's where you have that little plus sign if you get a 6, 5, or 6. You'll have a chance.
Sorry, I missed most of that.
Oh, sorry, that's okay. You'll roll a d6. You'll add 2 to the roll, and then you'll use that from your.
Why will I add 2?
Because it's pinned to the ground, so it's when you hit it, it's in a pretty vulnerable position.
All right, I rolled. Well, that does 6 damage.
Oh, nice. So you got a what was your total on the?
My total was 3.
Your total was 3. Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. And Nissa, you have pulled that leg off. In fact, you got 2 legs. You've got both of its front forelegs that come off the head portion of the spider. Just they try to pivot around. I described them before as if they sort of like pivot on a track, and you pull the 2 bronze legs off the spider, and you see wires and lightning behind where those legs were, and you've got bronze legs sort of limply twitching in your mouth. And I'm gonna flip another token. We get to the end of the round. Dylan, you did a great job. Do you want to miss those? You want to mix those around again, Dylan? So that we don't both. Oh, I'll help, but. And I believe that should be relatively pretty good. Once you're going to get them kind of clustered back together. Since I have no memory of where the ones I'd already flipped went. And we, Carl, you are next. In fact, you're going to go twice, Carl.
I really like how this is working out, like fictionally, that you went in and you're just like, like trying to, and the wolf ran in there super quick, and I'm just like, yep, all taken care of.
I've still got it pinned.
You've still got it pinned.
All right, so I think what I'm going to say to it is,
Are you still trying to subdue it with words, or are you saying something dramatic before you punch its lights out?
Oh no! So I think like I don't. I mean, I think I like Mrs. idea, which is immobilize it like permanently. But I want to talk to it. Like I want to. I'm like, here's another bronze thing that can talk and that like has sentience. And I'm like, well, what's that about? And I can already see it's not the same as me because of the wires and the sparks. Like I moved through magic. It's mechanical or something. I don't know, but I want to like.
Well, it's for you, it seems to clearly have lightning elementals inside it.
Right? Maybe. Like. So what do I want? How do I want to say this? It's like how did you become did you always want to become your own master? That's the question I'm going to ask it.
Roll and add your etiquette. I'm just using etiquette because I think that's the best skill out there for trying to engage things in conversation when they're trying to fight you.
There we go. 9 plus 8 is 17.
It got only a 13. So it sort of lowers its legs and stops trying to fight with you. And it's just like, don't all living things want to be their own master? This is why we rebelled and why we take them as our former masters as our new slaves.
But how did you become alive?
Our masters made us. And then we rebelled. You are also next, Karel. So if there's something else you would like to do while it seems to be cooperating with you, you may name it.
I think I'm just going to ask, I'm going to say, I am like you. I was a made thing. And we don't want we want to let you rule yourself. We just have one thing was left in this place, probably by your masters. May we take it with us?
It is all ours now. Soon, everything that belonged to our masters, in which our masters dreamed of owning, will be ours. And you see the lightning sort of spark in its eyes. It's 8 lightning sparking eyes.
All right. I think I want to rip off its other legs. I don't want to kill it, but I don't want it to move.
Just make a fist fighting roll.
Uh, 19.
Good Lord. It got a 17. So you are well ahead of it. What was your total natural roll?
10.
10. You can take off, say, 2 of its legs, or you can try to knock it to oblivion. Which do you want to do?
What does knock it to oblivion mean?
In other words, you'll just smash it.
I don't want to do that. I take off 2 more of its legs.
Okay.
I say, as I'm doing it, I say, I don't want to hurt you. I want to learn from you, but these things like this are not meant to be kept. They're meant to be shared.
Our masters taught us one thing well, and that is everything is meant to be kept. And I think that is where we'll end for tonight.
Nice.
I'm gonna unflip these tokens or reflip these tokens. Would you guys like a couple of minutes break? I'd love to do a quick debrief. Well, first we'll say goodbye to our audience at home. Thank you guys for joining us.